Hey guys, what's going on? Welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to continue working on the S1000. As you can see, life just got a whole lot easier. I guess you can see it. I finally found a lift table. This one I happened to buy off of Facebook Marketplace. It's almost brand new and I got a great deal on it. I'm pretty sure this is one of the same ones that they sell at Harbor Freight. I'm not for sure, but for $300 you can't go wrong. So let's go take a look at what we're going to put on today. Alright, so here's what we got today. We're going to put on the Rizoma Reservoir. I've got the black anodized one, and then we've got the bracket for it, because we'll have to change the bracket from the factory one. And all these parts came from Motivation Accessories here in Austin. I'll go ahead and link everything in the description below as always, so if you're needing anything, make sure to hit them up. Alright, so taking a look at the stock reservoir, we're going to need a Phillips here to take that off, and then we can unscrew the cap. And then there's several different ways you can get the fluid out. You can use like a turkey baster to suck it out of the reservoir. You can actually go to the bottom of the bike on the brakes and just bleed it out that way if you have to. You can put a hose on it and use a catch can. But I'm going to use my vacuum bleeder to do it with. It's super simple. You can buy these things on Amazon for like $25 if you have an air compressor. Basically you just hook a hose up to it, and when you press the handle, it creates a vacuum and pulls everything out. So it's a little easier, no mess. So let's go ahead and get started up here now. Okay, so we'll take our Phillips and go ahead and pull the retaining bolt out of this clip for the master cylinder or the reservoir. Now that we got that out, there's still fluid inside the line, so when we take this off it's going to leak out. So I'm going to go ahead and remove the fluid from the master cylinder also. Same thing, you hook your hose up on your bleeder like so and do the same thing. Go ahead and loosen this up and just pull it out. Okay, so now what we need to do, this hose will stay, but we need to undo the clamp, and then there's a bolt that actually holds the reservoir to the triple tree. But I want to go ahead and stick some kind of rags in here to make sure that if anything leaks out, that it doesn't, you know, leak all over everything, as little as possible anyway. And that you should be able to take a pair of needle nose and squeeze it, loosen it up. Like so. And now I'll go ahead and pull the hose off. Like so. Luckily we got all the fluid out so we don't have fluid dripping everywhere. And then this is a T25 bolt that holds this on, and an 8mm nut. And then what you should have once you get it off, you should have your reservoir like this. Like I said, go ahead and put your parts back on it. in case you ever want to reuse it. Now I think what I'm going to go ahead and do is take the windshield out real quick, just so I can get to everything easier, especially on the stand, because I have to take it off to turn the handlebars. So I'm going to just pop it out real quick. It's extremely easy to do if you've never done it. There's 4 bolts on it, and then you can just pop it right out. And now you can see, now that we have the windshield off, we've got a clear shot to the bolt on it, because I think we're going to go ahead and take the factory bracket off and put the Rizoma one on. As you can see right here where the bolt is at, I'm just utilizing the factory one. Also, the reason I put the windshield back on, even though I'm going to take it back off once I button everything up, is I want to make sure, you want to make sure when you turn the wheel, once you have it where you want it and have it orientated exactly like you want it, that when you turn the wheel, it doesn't hit anything. So I'm satisfied with where it's at. So now I just need to get it back off, Loctite everything. So I'll probably mark these with something where I can see the marks when I take it back off. And you definitely want to Loctite everything on here, because this the front end vibrates a lot. Okay, so now you can see I've used the factory bracket, and I've just attached the Rizoma bracket part of it to that, which seemed to work out better, I thought. And then of course I just leveled the reservoir off and kind of orientated it how I wanted it. You can always twist it and turn it a little if you need to. That's pretty much it. Now we'll just need to put the hose back on, take the cap off, and bleed the brakes. So we'll go ahead and do that now. Start at the bleeder valve on the caliper, fill up the master cylinder, and then you'll use your suction to pull the fluid through the system into the caliper. And then you'll start getting pressure in your master cylinder when you pump it. Just make sure you don't let it run out of fluid. When you are pumping it, keep filling it back up. And then once you get to the point where it's pretty well, if the system's back full, then you can bleed this side off, and then you can bleed the other side, and then we will, depending on how the lever feels, we'll probably bleed it at the master cylinder also. We'll pump the master cylinder, and then you can actually see the level dropping on the fluid as it's pushing it into the system. And then when it gets low, fill it back up. Okay, so now you can see that it's pretty much stopped taking the fluid. So that means that the system is full of air. So now we need to bleed it. Okay, so now that we have the lines bled at the calipers, we'll go ahead and see if there's any air in the master cylinder. So go ahead and pump it up. Hold down the brake lever and let the master cylinder bleeder valve off, and then tighten it back up. Let it off, do it again. Let it off. hold the handle down until you get the bleeder valve tightened back up. You'll know when you're good when there's no air coming through the line anymore. Remember, this is all about air. You're just trying to get the air out of the system. Okay, so once you get the air out of the system, you can go ahead and put your cap on. Alright guys, there you go. Simple install, looks much better. Now, you know, these Rizoma reservoirs are not exactly the cheapest. They're not very expensive, but I mean, they're not something you have to have. But is it something that you want? Of course it is. I mean, all this stuff is stuff that we want, not stuff that we need, right? One more thing done. The lift is making life so much easier. That's been the best money I've ever spent. So. Alright guys, there you go. Another simple mod for the bike. There's a million different ways to do these. If you also, once you get it done, you can leave the cap off and pull the lever in and wrap it with a band and leave it for a few hours. If there is any residual air in the system, it will come out through the top of the cap. That's something you can do. It's an easy install. Just make sure you know is everything. Take your time. If you're not sure, look at YouTube videos on how to do something. Not just this, anything. Don't be afraid to work on your own stuff. Not everything you need to take it to someone to pay them. You should be able to do basic maintenance on your own bike anyway. So give it a try. If you have any questions, make sure to leave them in the description below. And don't forget, if you like the video, give it a thumbs up and a like. It really helps the channel grow. I'll leave all the links for all the stuff that I used, all the parts today for motivation down below also. So thanks for watching guys, and I'll catch you in the next one. Peace.